going to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about art. Do you like art?
Yeah, I do like art actually. I don't really do any art myself, but I do like to look at other people's paintings and drawings. And actually, I do like to do photography occasionally, which is a form of art.
Okay. And do you think that art classes are necessary?
I don't really think they are necessary, but I do think that it is good for children to do art at school. I think it helps them to relax from all the math and science that they study.
Let's talk about jewelry. So what do you think about jewelry?
Personally, I'm not really that interested in jewelry. I don't really wear any jewelry. When I was young, I think I used to wear a silver chain around my neck, but these days, I don't really wear jewelry. So.
Okay. And what kind of jewelry do you like to buy?
Well, as I just said, I don't wear any jewelry, so I don't usually buy jewelry. Occasionally, maybe I might buy some jewelry, maybe for my girlfriend, but that would just be maybe a simple necklace or a bracelet of some sort.
Okay. I am going to give you a topic, and I want you to talk about that topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to prepare. You can write out a few keywords to help you think about what you're going to say. Okay? So here's the piece of paper, and here's the pencil. I want you to describe an important skill that could not be learned at school.
Okay.
That's 1 minute. Are you ready to begin?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about an important skill that cannot be learnt at school, and I think that skill is cooking. Now, I think the main reason that this can't be learnt at school is simply because most schools don't teach children how to cook. I think, however, in the past, maybe in my mother's or father's generation, in some schools they did teach children how to cook, but these days it's very uncommon. I think this is quite an important skill to learn because at some stage in everybody's life you probably need to be able to cook for yourself or cook for somebody else. So I think it's quite important to learn how to cook, even if it's just cooking something basic. And also, for example, a few years ago when I was living in a foreign country, I got sick for about 4 or 5 days, and I had no friends or family with me at the time, so I had to cook for myself in order to eat and get well again. So it really came in handy then. And in terms of how we can learn it, I think there's many ways that you can learn to cook. You can take a cooking class, or read recipe books, watch cooking shows on TV, or on YouTube there's an abundance of cooking channels. Also, I think it is quite common for parents to teach their children how to cook. And I think for me, one of the best ways that I learned to cook was just by experimenting. Sometimes I would just look in the fridge and find whatever ingredients were there and try to cook something. And sometimes it was a failure, but usually it was always still edible. So I think cooking is a skill, an important skill that can't be learned at school.
So you have been talking about an important skill that cannot be learned at school, which is cooking. I just want to ask you a few more questions related to this topic. Okay. So what qualities do you think are the most important for work?
For work, I think there's a number of qualities that are important, but I think maybe the first one is communication skills. I think it is important in your workplace that you are able to communicate well with your colleagues. I think secondly, maybe teamwork. Being able to work in a team is usually quite an important skill that employers look for in their employees. And maybe I think another skill is also being able to think outside the box. being able to think creatively, I think is quite important in most workplaces as well.
Okay. And what skills do you want to learn?
Actually, it's not really something that I think about very often, but I guess I could, improve my communication skills. And I guess I would like to learn some good leadership skills. I think leadership skills can be quite important, in work and also outside of work, in other aspects of your life.
Okay. I think that is the end of the speaking test. Thank you very much.